welcome to another session of our Java tutorials. Today we are going to create a simple two-player game of Tic Tac in Java. Let us begin. So the first thing you do is get this scanner from java.util.scanner package. So we will say static and then give the name of the class, which is scanner, and then let's call our object sc for simplicity purposes, and then new and then scanner. So this class will allow us to access the methods in the scanner class. So and then we say system.in, and it will allow us to read the user input and act accordingly. So let's over this and import the scanner class, which is this one. So now is to create a 2D array, and we will give it a name. Let's make it static as well. So we'll say static char. So to the array you have to put these square brackets, two of this, and then let's give it a name as board. So we say board equals to, and it will have 3 spaces on the right and another 3 spaces on the left. So let's start with this curly braces. So that is 1, and then the first space 1, and then the second one, and then the third one. So we'll put another one here. So space, and as you can see, it's a single apostrophes because it's char. If it was a string, then you would have double of this, and then we can just copy this because we will need it 3 times. So we can just copy once. So that is 2, that is 3, and then we put another one because it's a 2D array, and then just a semicolon here, and then from there we will have to create another variable called that will store the players. So let's call it current player. So we'll say static and then char. We'll make it char type as well. So let's give it a name as current player and initialize it with let's say something like x. Alright, you can give it any name you want, but let's just give it x for this situation. Let me make this a little bit, then a little bit of space here. So now this variable called the current player of char type will it will help us to track which player's turn it is to play. And next we have to create methods. So for this case we will need 4 methods to implement our code. We will make the method static as well, so that we don't have to create an object in the main method in order to call them. So static methods, you don't have to create an object in order to call them. You can call them directly. And so first of all, let's create our first method called display board, and this method will display the current state of the board game. And we will use let's make it static. So we will say static and then void and then display board. All right, and then it will take no arguments, and we will say let's just print the numbers first. Sys out. So sys out, and then opening, and then 0, and then 1, and then 2. All right, and then from there we use the for loop to iterate through the 2D array and print the contents of each cell. It will be separated by a vertical line or a as a delimiter if you want to call it. So we will say we'll say for, and then int the variable I of type int equals to 0, then semicolon. As long as I is less than 3, then increment by 1, I plus plus. So that's the syntax of for loops. It's always written like this. When you're incrementing, if you're decrementing, you do the opposite. You start with the last index coming down. So, and then let's print sys out, and then we will print I plus, and then space. And then from there, we will need another for loop inside the for loop we just created, because it's a nested for loop. So we will say for, let's make this variable j for now. Int j equals to 0. As long as j is less than 3, then increment j by 1. Alright? And then from there, you open it and print. We say sys out again, sys out, and then we print the board. Say board. That's our array, right? So it will have two. We have to use I and j, so we'll need 2 of this. Then we need another one. And then the first one will take I, the second one will take j. And then let's add our delimiter, our vertical line. Put vertical line in, and then from there, let's come here and put in a space between the lines, the first row and the second row and the third row. So let's say sys out. So when you say sprint line, you put in a line, it will go to the next line. If you say print, it will print in the same line. And then the next thing we need, let's print some dashes as well, so that it shows the separation. So we can say sys out, and then let's just print some dashes. So this I will just do an estimate, maybe, yeah. So now we are done with this method, guys, this display board method. The next thing we do is to go to the next method, which is to get the player move. So this method will get the player's move by asking for a row and column, and using scanner to read the input. It will use the do while loop to repeatedly ask for the input until a valid move is made, or rather until the chosen cell is empty. So let's start by giving it a name. So we say static, and then void, and then let's call it get player move. Okay, and then it will also take no arguments. Open it up, then let's create this variable for row and another one for column. And then let's use the do while loop now. So we will say do, and then do this as long as the column, the cell is not empty. So we print sys out, and then so we want to print the player, so we say player, and then we add the current player, which we will get it here. So let's copy this one and paste it here, and then plus, let's give it space, and then you tell the player to enter their move. Okay, enter your move, and then let's say row column. Okay, and then put it like that, and we don't need this. Let's just say enter your move. That's good enough. And then the next thing we do is for the scanner to read what move has been entered on the row and which move has been entered on the column. So we say row equals to sc, which is this object here, dot, and then we use this method called next int. We get all these things from the scanner class, guys. And then the column equals to sc dot next int. So we say next int because these are integers. And then once we're done, do this while the cell is not empty. So we'll say while, we use while board. Let's copy this array. So board, so an array, this 2D array, okay. And then another one, and then this one will be the row, and then the other one is the column. So row and then column, okay. So as long as the row, the column is not empty, so for empty is not, this one means is not empty, okay. So as long as it's not empty, then do this, okay. And then from there we print the board. Say board, let's just copy this and then put it over there, equals to current player. Copy this and paste it here. So we are done with our second, this one should not be here, so this one should not be here. So we are done with our second method, which is to get a player move. So our third method is to check for the winner. So we will create a method that will use the for loop and if statement to check for the winner. So we will be able to get the combination of all the rows and columns for a winning combination. All spaces in a row and column must have the same value in a tic-tac-toe game. So let's start by creating our method. Let's make it static. Let's say static, and then it's boolean because it will just return true or false, and then give it a name. Let's say check for winner. Alright, no arguments, and then open with curly braces. And then now the first thing we need to do is let's check the rows first. Let's check for the rows, and then we check the columns, and then we check the diagonals. So we will use the for loop. We say for, and then int I, a variable I of type int equals to 0, and then as long as I is less than 3, then increment I by 1. Then we open this up, and then we now use the if statement. So we say if, and then let's copy the board. Let's say this board here. So we are checking the rows. If the numbers match on the row, then that means the player, the current player playing as 1. So to the array, so in I index 0, and then we will use this comparison operator. This is not a mathematical operator, it's a comparison operator. So if it's equals to current player, say current player, and use these two ampersands and the board. Let's copy this again. So go to the next stage, so at index 0 and then index 1. So this one will be at index 1, okay? And then equals to current player, and so use another ampersand. Let's make this smaller because I think this will go all the way. So let's put it at 16. So a current player, and the last one is current player, and then board at index 2. Alright, board at index 2 equals to current player, equals to current player, and then let's open this one up with curly braces, okay? And then if that is the case, if a player matches all the numbers on the rows, then that player has won, and we will return true. That means the player won. And now let's check for the columns. So we check for the columns. So let's come here and say columns. Let's check for the columns. Alright, so we use another for loop, so let's just copy these to make our work easy. And then this one we use another variable, let's call it j, and then j, and then another j, and then we now use the if. So we say if, and then the board, let's copy this, just I don't like typing too much, okay? And then this one will be j, and then equals to, so use the other and the comparison operator again. So we're checking the columns. If all the numbers match in the columns, then the player has won. So we say current player, and let's copy this board and then change this to j. Alright, equals to current player, and another ampersand, and then this one again, and then j, this one will be 2. Alright, that will be 2. And so the next thing we do is j2. Actually, I think there's a mistake here. We need to change this one. So this will be 0, and then j, and then because they are columns, so this one will be 1, and this one will be j, and then this one will be 2, and this one will be j. Alright, and then equals to current player, and then let's open this up again. If the current player who is playing matches all the numbers on the column section, then the player has won. So we return true. Alright, so now let's check for the diagonals. So alright, let's go for the last one now. So we say diagonals. Alright, so we use another we use an if statement here. So we'll just say if, and then the board, let's copy this one. So this one will be at index 0, 0. Alright, and then equals to current player. So we say current player, and the board at index 1, 1 for both the column and the row section. So you say 1, and then another 1, and then equals to current player, and the board at index 2, 2 for the row and the column. Say 2, and then another 2, alright, and then equals to current player. So you see current player again here, and then from there if that is true, then the player has won, so return true. Alright, so you say return, see if that's the case, then return true. And then from there, let's check out the next one. So that's 0 0. We need to check for 0 2. So we use another if statement here. So let's see, if, and then board. Let's copy this. Let's copy this here, and then 0, index 2, at index 2, and then equals to current player. So current player and the board at 1, so this will be the same. Let's just copy that, and then equals to the 1 1, and then the last one will be opposite of this, 2 0, equals to current player and we use another in, and let's copy this, paste it here, and this one will be 0, and then last is equal to current player, so that will be current player. And then let's make this smaller because I cannot see the whole screen. Let me make it 14. Alright, 14, so equals to current player. Then if that is the case, then return true. So we type here return true, and then else return false. Return false. So guys, the next method, it will be our last method, and the method is to check to be able to switch the players from one player to another. So let's make this method static as well, and say static, and then void, and then switch. Let's call it switch player. It will take no argument, and then let's open it up. So the current player equals to current player. Let's use this, and then if current player equals to, let's say, x, and then if it's x, then the next player to play will be O. Alright, so it will be O. Otherwise, if it is not x, then the next player to play will be x. So it's as simple as that. And then next we go to our main method and make use of all these objects. So let's go to the main method now. So in our main method, we will use the while loop to repeatedly display the board, get player moves, check for a winner, and switch players until a winner is found. And that means all the spaces are filled and the numbers are the same, either the rows or the columns or diagonals. So let's start here by using the while loop. So say while, and then true, then let's get this this method here. Let's copy this display board. Well, true, show the display board, get player moves, so say get player move, and then the next thing we do is to use if statement. So we say if, and then check for winner. So we use this method here, check for winner. So let's copy all of this. So check for winner, if check for winner, and then open with curly braces, and then say sys out, and then get the player. So we say player and then plus, so we use the plus here, and then the current player, we put a current player here, and then plus, and then as one, all right, as one, and then break. If the player has won, then we break the loop. Otherwise, if the player has not won, then we use this method to switch the player to the next one. So we use switch method to switch the players, just like that. And then from there, once a player has won, we want to close our program, right? So we will use a method in the scanner class called close. So we will use this object and call our method, which is close, and then just like that. And this one should actually be here. So that's it. Then let's now try to see if our program is running correctly. So now we can run it, and then as you can see, we have the board here. So and it says player X, enter your move. So let's make it as simple as possible so that we see if it can generate the winner for us. So player X, I will enter 0 0 here. So I will say 0 0, and then it will prompt player O to enter the move. So let me enter 0 1 for player O. So it's 0 and then 1, and then player X, enter your move. So I will use 0 1. So I'll say 1 0. Okay, let me do 1 0 so that I can win. And then the next one I will say 2 0. So player O, let me say 0 2. I will say 0 and then 2. So player X, which is this one, and then I want player X to win. So the next one I will say is player X to enter 2 and then 0. And then so now player X has won because player X has matched all this column here, and that shows our game, our code is working. So that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much, and if you found this video helpful, please subscribe to this channel.